Let's send it over to David and Colette for tonight's top story at 6. Hi, guys.
All right. Hi, Meg. Thank you. Well, it's something you might not give much thought to, but for some folks, their driver's license can cause a lot of emotional stress.
That's right. In fact, they can be a threat to a person's very identity. The news at 6 starts right now.
Live and local with coverage you can count on. This is WNEM TV5 News at 6.
This has a lot to do with the integrity of my body and my own dignity.
When you get asked for your driver's license, you might not think too much about what's on it unless you're not happy with your photo. But for some people, a single letter is much more troublesome than an unflattering picture. Right now, Michigan Secretary of State faces a lawsuit because of what it takes to change the gender listed on your driver's license.
Yeah, for those who are transgendered, it means going through a surgical procedure that they may feel isn't right for them. TV5's Faith Gantner explains.
It's about perception and identity.
Shar Davenport is a transgender woman and LGBT advocate. She says her only form of ID that doesn't reflect that she's a woman is her Michigan driver's license.
My driver's license, it has an M on it, which is male. So anytime I write a check, I have to reveal a very private and somewhat intimate detail about myself, as well as some medical information I'm not really comfortable sharing.
6 transgender people are suing the Michigan Secretary of State. They argue it's impossible for most transgender men and women to change the M or F listed on their license.
What they're doing is they're actually challenging the Secretary of State's policy.
In order to change the gender on a driver's license, the state now requires a birth certificate, and that means only people who've had a gender change surgery would be able to change that part of their license.
In Michigan, in order to change your birth certificate, you have to have had sex reassignment surgery. And we feel that that's just unfair.
Davenport says allowing transgender people to better represent their new identities on their licenses would help prevent harassment and help others recognize the person they've become.
A lot of people could just breathe a little bit easier knowing that every time they go to the grocery store, they don't have to out themselves to a complete and total stranger.
Reporting from Saginaw County, Faith Gantner, WNEM TV5.
Now, the federal government does not require surgery to change genders on a U.S. passport or on Social Security records. And I want to hear your thoughts on this issue. Just post a comment on our Facebook page or tweet us. Use the hashtag FastFeedback.
Well, live look now at downtown Saginaw as November comes to a quiet but chilly end. But before the night is over, those temperatures will take a roller coaster ride. Here's Chief Meteorologist Brian Bachman with a closer look at that forecast. Hi, Brian.
That's right. It's going to be one of those nights where we dip very chilly early and then actually kind of start to climb out of it also very quickly. So there's that roller coaster ride for you. But the good news is that most of us, through the evening at least, will stay on the drier side. Here's a look at current conditions from Owasso High School tonight, courtesy of our weather cam there. Current temperature you can see tolerable for a normal mid-Michigan late November evening, 37 degrees. The real feel in the air much closer though to the low 30s in many locations, although maybe not quite the same here with a wind of only about 2 miles per hour, but you kind of get the gist of it. You plan for that in mid-Michigan, of course, right? It's a little bit of a breeze out there. It's going to make it feel chillier, but you can see at least no rain falling, no snow falling, more importantly, though that will be changing in the next 24 hours thanks to this storm system, which we're just kind of sitting on the far eastern fringe of, but what we've actually seen is a little bit of a breakaway band that's kind of gone rogue and rolled its way into mid-Michigan, and it's dropping a decent amount of rain closer to the Ludington and Big Rapids areas even right now, but the much larger portion of the storm is farther to the west, and that'll have a bigger impact on our weather as we go into the day tomorrow and into Wednesday as well. As for tonight, we stay mainly dry until about, say, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Temperatures, though, settling into the low 30s early, then climbing right back out for the rest of the night. We'll have a full detailed look at your forecast coming up in just a little bit.
And we continue to follow breaking news from Flint, where a piece of mid-Michigan history still stands tall after a fire ripped through its roof. Now, the blaze broke out at the Whaley Historic House this afternoon, but crews were able to keep it under control.
And now investigators are getting a closer look at the damage. TV5's Ronnie Duncan joins us live in Flint with the latest. Ronnie.
What history and what tradition when you speak of the Whaley House and what it has meant to the city of Flint and to the state of Michigan. And when you consider this building, someone said today, shortly before 3, the roof is on fire. And what we know now is that this building will need a facelift starting from the top.
The fire was contained to the roof area. However, we did get some water damage on the inside of the building.
A thankful Chief David Cox took note of the damage done to the historic Whaley house on Kersley in Flint. Chief Cox has a theory of his own of what started the fire that resulted in some furious blazes through the roof, ripping right through this prized possession of a city's rich past. You said some individuals are working. Have you got any preliminary evidence or perhaps ideas of what may have caused this fire?
Well, we're thinking that maybe perhaps they were doing some type of work on the roof with the gutters, and that could have contributed to the fire starting. And we don't think it was any malicious malice intent. And right now we're looking at it as an accidental fire.
As this epic home took on a look of smoke, Matt Slinker can only watch and wonder about the past and the future of this house, the one he grew up watching and adoring.
From the outside, it looks like the main structure is still there. I can see damage to the roof. I can see part of it's gone, but that's, hopefully there's some hope for restoring it and putting it back like it was. It's been a place that's been really well taken care of and renovated over time. And it's just a wonderful, beautiful place in the city.
Matt Slinker is like so many who have adored and rarely have a lot of memories of this house. I can tell you what is currently going on now is that a construction crew is at the top of the building going inside. And I've seen individuals who are part of this great museum coming out with pieces, artifacts, and pieces that mean so much to this city. Reporting live in Flint at the Whaley House, Ronnie Duncan, WNEM. TV5.
Devastating, Ronnie, thank you. And we'll continue following the aftermath of that fire as new details come to light. Count on WNEM-TV5 for updates on air, online, and on your mobile device. And by the way, a GoFundMe page has already been set up for the Whaley Historic House. You can find it in the hot link section at WNEM.com.
And developing tonight, police are investigating a suspicious death in a mid-Michigan community. A man walking his dog yesterday found the body in the Grand Blanc Community Commons area. Now, police say the cause of death has not been determined, and although they say it's suspicious, they're not certain foul play was involved. If you have any information, please contact the Grand Blanc Police Department.
And police need your help tracking down a man wanted in a fraud investigation. Take a look. They're trying to identify the man seen right here on your screen. If you recognize him, contact Saginaw Township Police through their Facebook page or call the department offices during business hours. And
we're hoping to learn more about this accident on I-75. Now, traffic was backed up for hours as crews cleared away an overturned semi today. It happened around 10:30 this morning, just north of US 10 in Bay County. There's no word yet on what caused the crash.
The United States of America not only recognizes our role in creating this problem, we embrace our responsibility to do something about it.
World leaders are putting climate change back into the spotlight as they hold an international summit in France. This year's Conference of Parties is the largest gathering ever to focus on the goal of reducing greenhouse gases. Next to China, the U.S. is the world's greatest source of pollution. And as climate experts will tell you, that's had quite the impact on our environment. TV5's James Felton reports.
Michigan will probably, and is to some extent, experiencing the same effects that much of the United States will.
Rhett Moeller believes in climate change. Moeller is an assistant professor at Saginaw Valley State University. He's studied climate change for years. He says our lifestyle has led to high levels of carbon in the atmosphere, warming the earth, making climate change a factor right here in Michigan.
We can expect that as the climate continues to warm, heat waves will get more intense, droughts will get more intense, even storms could get more intense, and you could have more rainfall.
And if you've been watching our First Warn 5 weather reports, you know that we've had a warmer than average fall thanks to El Nino. El Nino is something that is not a result of climate change, according to Moeller.
It's based more on global circulation patterns than on a warming globe.
Moeller says the warm Pacific Ocean waters behind El Nino can't be blamed on climate change, but he believes instances of extreme weather can be. He says if something isn't done, we'll have to deal with all different kinds of intense weather, but he believes it's not too late to reverse the trend. He is optimistic leaders attending the climate change summit in Paris will come up with a solution for a healthier planet.
It's our habits, burning fossil fuels, cutting down forests and releasing this carbon into the atmosphere. And so if we want to do something about it and not just resign to our fate and roll the dice and see what happens, then we have to address those particular issues.
Reporting in Saginaw County, James Felton, WNEM TV5.
Critics say fighting climate change will slow economic growth, but President Obama says a stronger economy and a safer environment can exist together.
Well, if you're wondering where the most Christmassy town in America is, well, it might be right here in mid-Michigan.
Yeah, we'll take a look at what makes Frankenmuth so special that it's the subject of a new song.
Plus, it turns out the parking lot may not be the right place to smoke your medical marijuana. In fact, it could come with some serious consequences. You are watching TV5 News at 6, serving Benton, Clare, Essexville, and your hometown, too.
It's coverage you can count on.